Hello and welcome once again to the Key Model World TV show. Tonight we have so much in store for you. There are a few clues on the layout. Someone wouldn't let me play with the W ones. Today you join myself and Mike here in the Hornby magazine workshop for a whole host, an hour of modern railway related content.
Yeah, we've got some brilliant features lined up for you tonight. For a starter, we're going to go to Dawlish Warren to visit a brilliant Engage exhibition layout by Chris Morris, which models that really famous location on the approach to the seawall section on the Great Western Main Line. We've got a full review of the new Hornby HST with a complete range running in the first Great Western fag packet livery, which is splendid as a full train. We've got the latest model railway news, and we've got a special sound demonstration as well for one of Hornby's signature locomotives from the last year.
So, I think it's time we went straight to Chris Morris's Dawlish Warren.
Tony's Trains of Rugby is located at Hillmorton Locks on the outskirts of Rugby. We are open Tuesday to Saturday 10 till 5, but closing early on Saturday at 4 o'clock. We stock Hornby Bachmann, Graham Farish, Pico, Gauge Master, Howjan, Oxford and Oxford Diecast, Acura Scale and more. We also have a large selection of second-hand models to suit all budgets. You can either visit us in store or reach me on 01788 543 442, visit our website tonystrainsofrugby.com or find us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Chris Morris and this is my layout Dawlish Warren. Dawlish Warren is in South Devon, and this layout is an attempt to capture the actual place. There's been a few compromises made, but fundamentally it is trying to show Dawlish Warren as it was in the 1960s. It is 11'6" long by 3'6" wide. The control is just basic DC control. With a control panel at the front and at the back. So at exhibitions I can control it from the back, but when I'm at home I control it from the front. The layout starts with a small section of seawall. Okay, yes, it's too much of a curve, but it's the only way of fitting it in. And there is actually a bridge across the railway which looks something like the bridge I have at the start of the layout. And going round from there, there is Langstone Rock. That's actually smaller than it should be, but it's a good representation, I think. And the cliffs behind are somewhere near the correct height from what I can gather. Moving round more to the station area, the Victorian footbridge is a 3D model of the original there. Then you have at the back the Mount Pleasant Inn, sort of as it was in the 1960s. I've had many happy a meal there. At track level, we've got the camping coaches. These camping coaches change colour quite a bit over the years, but I think chocolate and cream is a reasonable colour for them. There should be 7, not 5, but hey, it's all about compromise again. Moving further down, we have the Warren stores. The Warren stores was a smallish building. The building is still there today, but it now has a pitched roof and has been extended quite a bit. The ice cream cellar is still there. The railway footbridge was there until the mid-1970s. The station buildings I built myself from plasticard. They've now all gone, but that's how they were in the 1960s. Behind the station, there's a representation of all the domestic gardens that back onto the railway. And the railway follows the estuary all the way to Exeter. On the curve there is Eels Dock. Eels Dock does exist, and I've built it as close as I can from estate agents' photographs when it went up for sale. I started building it in late 2019, and of course with lockdown in 2020 and still restrictions in 2021, that actually enabled me to get on with it and complete it in about 2 years. I've actually got 4 sets of stock. There's my 1959 stock, which is nearly all steam locos. 1963 stock, which is the early diesels and gives me a chance to show westerns in all sorts of different colours. 1968 stock, which is where you got a mixture of the old and the new, and most sets of coaches were blue and grey and maroon mixed together. And then my final set is a more generic sort of late 1980s, early 1990s set. My favourite has got to be the 1960s. I love seeing the westerns and the warships running. I don't plan to go to too many shows with this. It was mainly designed for my own pleasure. But yeah, it should go to about 4 or 5 exhibitions. Probably not many more than that in its lifetime.
Hi, I'm Alex Yates and this is TMC, the Model Centre at Beckhole near Whitby. We're down at the new mailroom at TMC where we can ship your orders worldwide. Here at TMC we do many limited editions. We've got our 24.5 tonne mineral wagons that have just come into stock, and we've got our G5 that is due in summer next year, and we've got many other limited editions available on our website. Here at TMC we stock all major brands including Hornby and Bachmann, and we also have a large range of pre-owned models all available in store and on our website. We offer customisation services when you buy a model from us, such as reel coal, cab crew, DCC sound, DCC, and any little customisation features that you want on your models. We also offer a weathering service. When you buy a model off our website, we have tick box options so you can spec up the model as much or as little as you want. You can pre-order all future releases on our website with free postage over £50 and no deposit required. Whether you're a customer, old or new, visit us in person or visit our website, themodelcentre.com. We hope to see you soon.
So what a layout.
It's lovely, isn't it? Right on my street for obvious reasons, full of hydraulics.
It's one of those layouts, I think, that, or areas that does well best in N.
Yes, well, you've got that kind of space with the N-gauge layout, haven't you? Because he's got that suggestion of the estuary at one end, you've got the suggestion of the start of the seawall at the other end. You couldn't do that in such a small space in any other scale. It's something like 12 foot long and about 3.5 feet wide. Big storage yard at the rear, lots of different trains to run through. It's great fun to watch it as much as it is to photograph it or video it as well.
He's really captured the feel of it being sort of at the bottom of the cliffs, especially on that first corner.
Yeah, he was really keen to capture all that. I remember him talking to me, explaining how he went to do site visits there, actually look at where the Mount Pleasant Inn as well is there to kind of join all the dots together and make it fit.
It's really nice to see what's possible at Engage, particularly landscape-wise. So.
That's right, yeah. And actually, it was one of the exhibits that came to the 2022 Great Electric Train Show as well.
So it's been around the circuit.
It certainly has, yeah.
Right, well, from one layout to model railway news now. So I think it's time we caught up with the news.
My name's James Smith, and I'm the owner of Smith's Model Railways, based in Sheringham in Norfolk, just on the main high street, really close to the North Norfolk Railway. So we stock from N gauge to O gauge, brands like Pico, Graham Farish, Hornby, Bachmann. Just launched our new loyalty card just after lockdown when we reopened. So we also offer these gift vouchers. You can either contact us via our telephone, email, or with our contact form on our website.
So it's been a rather busy few weeks in the model railway scene, and we have plenty of news for you.
We certainly do, and it has definitely been a very busy few weeks, because right at the beginning of this period, it was the Hornby 2023 range launch as well, which we covered in our previous special edition of the Key Model World TV show.
You'd think with Chinese New Year, manufacturers would slow down a bit.
That's clearly not the case at the moment. So, anyway, first things first, a bit of homegrown news for you. The 2023 Great Electric Train Show is taking place on October the 14th and 15th at the Marshall Arena, Milton Keynes, and advanced tickets are officially on sale now for the show, and there's an early bird offer on at the moment as well. So if you head over to shop.keypublishing.com, you can pick up your early bird tickets and get an extra saving over the standard price.
And of course, the Great Electric Train Show is one not to be missed.
It certainly is this year. We've got, well, it's already now known, isn't it? So we've got one of the biggest, in fact, what could actually be the biggest ever portable double O gauge model railways coming to this year's show. Pete Waterman, the Rail Nuts team, they're bringing Making Tracks 3, and maybe we should call it version 3.5.
3.152.
Well, 3.152. 152 foot long version of the Making Tracks layout. That's all three layouts from the past 3 years joined together in one piece for the first time ever at the Great Electric Train Show. I can't wait.
I can't wait to see how you get it in the back of a van.
I'm wondering how many vans I need to book. We're going to have a whole army of us driving down the motorway.
But no, definitely one not to miss.
Definitely. And we've got some other fantastic layouts lined up for that, and there'll be a full launch story about all the layouts that are being announced to launch the show in the next issue of the magazine as well. Talking of events as well, in a couple of weeks' time, you'll be able to see us in Model Rail Scotland as well, at the Glasgow Scottish Exhibition Centre as well. We'll be up there from February 24th to the 26th with the Hornby magazine stand and a brand new layout, which you'll also see very soon as well.
Oh, can't we show them now? It's just there. You might have to wait. You might have to wait.
Yeah. We'll see how nice and feel. It's just there though, genuinely.
We can't tell them.
No.
You'll see it at Glasgow.
Secret.
It's
Special.
worth
secret.
going.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yes. So moving on to model railway product news. Just a few days ago, Bachmann launched its spring 2023 announcements in the British Model Railway announcements.
And boy, there were a lot of nice things in that list for me.
There certainly were, yes. So for starters, some two-car DMUs, which I know you'll be very excited by. Some new 143s coming through from the EFE rail brand for double O gauge in a variety of different liveries, including, I believe there's Tyne & Wear liveried. There's a couple of Welsh ones as well. And there's also a GWR one as well in a weathered finish as well.
Which is the first time I think we've seen it in weathered.
Yes, I think it is, yeah. In fact, all those three new liveries that I mentioned there are all the first times they've been seen on the 143 as well for double O gauge. Next, we've got a couple of new Class 37s as well. So Bachmann's been back to look at the further at what it's got in the options of its Class 37. For starters, we've got a centre head code version in original BR green with round buffers on it. We've got a split head code version with round buffers as well in its early condition. We've also got, something much more modern. I've seen this one a few times, 37175 finished in Colas Rail, black, orange and yellow as well. And they're all available either DCC ready, DCC sound fitted or DCC sound fitted deluxe with the powered roof fan and the tinted windows.
And joining that, the Bachmann Windhoff is back.
It is, yeah. The Windhoff MPV is back. I really quite like these. So they're doing the most modern liveries on these with a couple of the Southwest Trains versions. So there's a couple down there, one with orange cabs and one with yellow cabs on it. They're doing both of those for double O gauge. Nice to see that back after a few years break. And I've actually just put up our original review of the original Network Rail liveried one from 2011, would you believe?
Blimey.
On Key Model World as well. So if you wanted to know a bit more about the background to that unit, that is available to read now on our website.
And joining that is a spattering of wagons, including the Lobster.
Yes, so this is a new tooling addition to the Bachmann wagon collection, which is the Lobster MXA open wagon. So this is one of the new spoil wagons. It's a modification to the BDA bolster wagon to put a body on top of it to carry spoil. They're coming out and be available in DB Cargo Red.
And of course, there's some excitements from the double O gauge range, but anything from Graham Farish?
Yes, we've got a few new additions to the Graham Farish range. So for starters, we've got a new version of the Class 90 has been announced. There's 90042 in Freightliner green livery. We've got another version of the Class 08 coming as well. And a handful of new wagons, including some bolster wagons and some Sea Cow ballast hoppers as well.
And something very special for the Collectors Club member.
Yes, so they've announced a new production run of the JJA auto ballasters for double O gauge. So recently we saw that Rails of Sheffield has done an exclusive version of these in N gauge in the latest Network Rail yellow livery, and now there's going to be available in double O gauge as a exclusive model for the Collector Club. And there's options with the generator fitted and with the curved top as well.
I wonder if we'll ever see them in the shops, or is it an exclusive?
That is an exclusive for the Collector Club, so that would be only available to Bachmann Collector Club members for those.
And of course, those were just the highlights, but there are plenty more items in the new spring announcements from Bachmann. Of course, you can see all those right now on keymodelworld.com or in the next issue of Hornby magazine. That's HM190.
That's right.
So, moving on to more news.
Accurascale has been quite busy of late with some new announcements. Firstly, it's got some reruns of existing products, and it's also added some exclusive versions of its in-tooling projects as well. So first up, it's got a new batch of Class 55 Deltics to celebrate its 5th birthday. We've got 5 new locos and a rerun of 1. So the options in this new batch include D9000 in its 2000 livery, where it had it was two-tone green but with an orange cant rail stripe and high-intensity lights on the front. There's a new version in BR Blue. There's a new version in standard BR Green from the 1960s as well. And there's also a rerun of the Porterbrook Purple liveried 9016 Gordon Highlander as well. So nice little selection of new choices for the Deltic.
Which I'm sure will be very popular.
Right, so they've also announced new versions, exclusive Accurascale versions of their latest product as well. So for starters, on the Class 31, they've announced they're going to do limited editions of 31407 in mainline blue and 31466 in EWS maroon and gold, which has just emptied my wallet quite a bit. Bought both of those. And while on the Class 50, they've announced they're going to do 5149 Defiance in its Rail Freight general livery, as well as 50007 Sir Edward Elgar in its classic 1985 GWR green livery.
I have a feeling that you're going to be skint for a while.
Possibly. There's definitely a possibility of that.
There's always nights.
There is.
And of course, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest news as it happens, don't forget to check out keymodelworld.com or see it in the latest issues of Hornby magazine.
Yes, and especially around the time of Model Rail Scotland, because obviously we're big event, we're expecting announcements, and you know where to find them. They'll be right here with us at Key Model World.
There's a lot of news on Key Model World.
Definitely. Right, where are we going next?
Good question. Where are we going next? I think it's time we went and explored the HST.
Definitely. We're going to take a closer look.
I'm Anthony of AGR Model Rail Store in Leighton Buzzard, Bedfordshire. We stock the whole ranges for N, OO and O, all the major brands, for DC modelers and DCC modelers. We have a full DCC sound install, which can include sound, smoke and lights. We offer a range of Pico 009 exclusives, and we are also UK's biggest importer of Bachmann USA Thomas and Friends models. Got great links to the M1. We have mail order, which you can order through the website www.agrmodelrailstore.co.uk. We're actually just off the Lake Buzzard High Street. We're in High Street Mews, so if you look for Costa Coffee, directly opposite, you can see us and the sign.
So hello and welcome once again to the Hornby Magazine Workshop. Today you join myself and Mike here on the Great Central themed layout because we've got Hornby's brand new HST for double O gauge. So, Mike, I never thought I'd see the day that Hornby have retooled its HST.
Well, it's been a little while in the coming, actually. I mean, we saw the first hints of the HST coming, it was about 12 months ago, I think now, when it turned up on the Hornby Model World TV show and started talking about redesigning the HST. It was then launched officially in the 2022 Hornby catalogue, and, well, great to see it here.
I mean, the HST itself, what's it had, a 40, 50-year career, something like that?
Yeah, it's coming up towards 50 years now. I think it's 46 years exactly this in 2022, so 47 years by the time we're watching this in 2023. The first ones were introduced in 1976, completely reshaped rail travel on Britain's railways. For the first time, we had average speeds above 100 miles an hour, these being capable of 125 mile an hour with the two diesel-powered units at each end of a train, air-conditioned carriages, comfortable seats, 75-foot coaches as well. Loads of features which had never been seen before. They were nicknamed journey shrinkers because they literally, that's what they did. They shrank the journey times that people could take by rail.
Which is incredible, really, because in my mind, they feel current.
Yes.
Yet, of course, they're quite old.
Well, they are, yeah, but I suppose it's because they've still got such a current lifetime at the moment. So they're still in frontline service. I mean, a lot less so than they were a few years ago. I mean, reflect back to sort of 2019. At that point, you could see HSTs in frontline Class 1 service on the Great Western Main Line and on the East Coast Main Line and on the Midland Main Line as well as cross-country services. East Coast and Great Western removed all their HSTs in 2019. They left the Midland Main Line in 2021 as well, but you can still see them on cross-country services as full 7+2 sets, whereas on the Great Western network they've retained some sets as 4 coaches, so they're called Castle sets now, and they operate on selected services, and they've also got the Intercity 7 sets as well, which are up in Scotland as well.
So if you want to have a go on one, if you've not had a go on one, now's the time.
Exactly, yeah. There's a couple more. There's another type of HST, well, 2 types of HST you can't have a go on. So one would be the network rail ones that are operated by Colas Rail on the test trains. And there's also the Rail Adventure pair as well with the buffers, which are now being used for stock movements as well. But if you're feeling flush and you fancy a really nice day out, then the Midland Pullman set with HST Pullman power cars and first-class coaches in between is definitely something to try and get on.
The bright blue one.
The bright blue one, indeed. It looks fantastic. So that coming up the East Coast Main Line a few months ago. So,
which is handy because Hornby have also modelled that one as part of this new initial collection.
They have, yes, yeah.
So tell us a bit more about the model front. We know they're doing the Midland Pullman version. Yep. What else are they doing? Right,
so on the layout today, we've got 2 of the versions that are coming. So we've got the first Great Western Fag Packet nicknamed Livery, which is one that people have been asking for years. We've actually got a full set of that, full 7+2 set here on the layout today. We've then got a much more recent Great Western Castle set, which is the second set we've got on the layout today. We've also got a set coming in East Coast silver and white. We've got the Midland Pullman blue set. There's also the Rail Adventure pair as well. We've got a Rail Charter Services green set, and I believe there's a couple of other additions as well. There's an East Midlands set coming as well. So we've got quite a lot of different colour choices to take at this point.
So from a livery perspective from Hornby, they've really gone to town with the different colour choices, because you think it's not just a normal matte green, for example. You've got the varnish green and then you've got blue, and it's just
yeah. Well, this first batch seems to be very focused on the privatisation era liveries. Some of the liveries that we've not seen for a long time, some of the ones we've seen on the previous generation power cars as well. But we've also got more coming in 2023 now as well. So there's 3 more liveries coming for this new brand of HST in 2023. One is in original BR blue and grey. There's another one in Intercity Executive livery as well, and that comes with a new TXS sound fitted to it as well. And there's also an LNER set, which I think a lot of people, including myself, will be a little bit excited about because it's got the flying tomato in it, which is
hands off.
Yeah, the all red one. So I have to have one of those. I saw it on its last day in service coming through Peterborough.
So we're both getting tomatoes then?
Yes, tomatoes all round.
So Hornby have obviously gone to town on this with so many livery choices, but what do you think of the model?
Well, I already really liked what Hornby had done with the previous generation HST. I think I probably had too many of them, but can never have too many, can you? What they had before, though, was a really good quality product. It ran well, it looked well, it had lots of detail variations in it as well. But it moved on another step. I think externally the changes are relatively small. But I think that, again, to me, shows how good the previous generation model was as well. We have got slightly more, I think, better refined grills on it. There's clearly lots of tuning variation with different exhaust layouts and things as well, different light clusters, all those kind of little features as well. And then I think probably the most significant upgrades for me are the internal workings and the chassis side of things as well.
I was going to say, particularly the coaches as well, they seem to have been really refined.
Yes, so the coaches are a massive move on from what we had before in terms of the Mark III coaches. I mean, you've got to remember that those Mark III coaches we had before, most of them dated back to 1999 when Hornby did its new, its first ever full-length HST coaches. And others dated back to the Lima era as well, because some of them were absorbed from the Lima collection to create the full range which were required. So this is the first, if you like, all new full set of HST trailer coaches which Hornby has done. And they are proper HST trailers as well. They've got no buffers on them or anything like that. It's not a universal coach like the old ones were. And the coaches really are very nice. Be quite impressed with those.
And of course, we're seeing different types of coupling in the pack now. So
Yes.
we've got the usual small tension locks. We've got the solid plastic bar, which is what we've seen with the Class 91 and its coaches. And we've got magnets for the first time.
Yes, and actually, I'm really quite taken by magnets. I really enjoyed using the Hunt's magnetic couplings from Westall Wagon Works. Found them really useful for fixed formation trains. I'd already got a older generation HST fully fitted out with all those magnetic couplings on it. It's really nice to find that kind of feature now coming across into ready to run products. So when you open your box, you can make your choice. For me, the magnets are a no-brainer. Switch out those tension locks, plug the magnets in. Really easy to join this train together. Really easy to separate it when you need to as well. If it comes uncoupled, then you can join it back together without having to fight with it. And another interesting little aside with that as well is actually we did have a little derailment through the station here. And what happens? One of the bogies got stuck underneath the platform edge. And normally, if you've got tension locks, then the whole thing jams under tension,
Rips itself over.
Everything starts going to chaos and all the rest of it. Actually, in this scenario, all it did was the magnets just separated because the power car had more power than needed to separate the magnet in that scenario. And actually, it meant that the disaster was much smaller because only one bogie was off the track rather than half the train.
So what we're saying is we can actually run the models at full speed because there won't be as much damage if anything is wrong.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, all joking aside, I think the magnetic couplings are brilliant. I think that kind of feature is a really good thing for us as modelers. Makes them much more user-friendly as well.
So with things like the East Coast silver livery that we've got and the castle set here, very simple liveries, but then the fag packet livery, quite complicated.
Oh yeah, very complicated. I mean, actually incredibly complicated. You can see why it's been a long time since the livery has been done on a model. It looks like they've actually used like a decal type process for the lower body sides on the Great Western liveried sets. But again, I know there's been a couple of sets we've seen pictures on the internet where that hasn't quite sat straight, but all of our coaches have been really smart. They're really well put together. The detail finishing is superb. I think that first Great Western set looks fantastic from around here.
It really does look nice having a couple of HSTs again on the GCR layout.
Yeah, the GCR layout, they really fit in here.
You never know.
Yeah.
So we've also got new tooling, but we've also got lots of new features within the models, particularly the engines.
Yes, so I mean, I think actually the new tooling for me actually in this case really extends well beyond the outside of the product. Like I say, I think actually the externals look great on these. They've got a really good look to them. But when you take the body off, you really find out why Hornby's gone to town on them to upgrade them. So first things first, we've got a inline NEM coupling socket on the back bogie. So before it used to have a cranked coupling on it to bring it up to the right height. It was a bogie mounted coupling, whereas it's now a body mounted coupling, which again is much easier. We don't need different types of couplings to join trains together and stuff. It's just straight bars through everything. So that's a really good plus point. It gets a lot better than that though. Couplings aside, we move inside and you've now got, still got the powerful 5-pole motor in there with twin flywheels in the powered version. But we've also now got working roof fans in those where there are roof fans as well. And not just in the powered vehicle, in the unpowered vehicle as well. That's separately driven as well. So A while ago, Hornby used to do powered roof fans, but they were driven off a rubber band off the main drive, and sometimes that caused a few issues with them jamming. These are completely independent. They've got a separate little motor on them to drive the fans, and they are function controlled as well. So, for example, the Great Western Green set that's on here now, I've got a pair of Dapple Imperium decoders in that, and with function 3, you can turn that decoder, use that decoder to turn the fan on and off as you please. And it also gives you control of the lighting as well. So obviously got directional head and tail lights on it, but with function 2 you can also switch from day to night mode of the lighting as well, which again is really quite a nice feature. And function 1 turns the cab lights on and off at the forwards direction of the train as well.
And of course, on top of that, still with some of the newer sound fitted versions from Hornby, just a Jew, we've got the TXS. I'm going to say that right, sound.
Yes, indeed, yeah. So this is a whole new brand of sound decoder from Hornby. So we've had twin track sound, which was 2 audio tracks playing at a time. And this is triple sounds in this time, so it's actually able to overlay 3 different sounds at the same time. These power cars are also factory fitted with twin 15mm cube speakers in them as well. So a pair of cube speakers at the back of each power car as well, and in both the dummy and the powered versions. The TXS decoders, they plug into a 21-pin socket in these HSTs, so now upgraded to a 21-pin chip on these. And they can then control all those functions we just talked about, but they also have some built-in thermal control of the fan as well. So, for example, if you've got a TXS decoder plugged into one of these HSTs, and you bring it to a stop in a station, then the fan will continue to run for a set time, then it will switch off. If you leave your train sat in the station for a period of time, it will cut the fan back in and cut it back out again as well. So some really nice features being built into these as well.
I was going to say, it's quite the package of little exciting upgrades here and there.
That's right. And then if you look even closer on the circuit board on top of one of these inside the chassis, there's a little blue box with a little screw head in the top of it. You can turn that screw head in there to adjust the speed of the fan. So you can decide whether you want your fan to run really fast or really slow.
It's quite nice to be able to adjust it.
It is, yeah, absolutely. I think all these little features, I think they're really good things. I think it's pushing the model further and further forward and introducing a lot of the functionality I think should be becoming standard as part of models these days.
It's nice because, I mean, although you probably won't see things like that from 3 foot away, it's nice to be able to get in close with your models and see the extra detail.
Yeah, and then you think about having I've done this with O-gauge models where you get the fan sound to sync with the fan moving as well, and actually it's just a really nice thing to know that it's doing it all, and it's all at the touch of a button as well.
And it draws the attention to it as well, especially linked with sound.
Yeah, and the final thing we should mention about the TXS decoder, which we will do separate videos about as well, is that they're also Bluetooth control as well. So no longer will you have to communicate to your train through the track. So obviously it'll still take the power from the track, but you can communicate direct from a Bluetooth device like a smartphone or a tablet and send instructions to drive your train. So I can't wait to get my hands on some of those and start playing.
I was going to say, it's all rather exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, love technology. Great fun.
And of course, it's all in HST, so it's great.
Absolutely, yeah. So expect more HSTs and TXS demonstrations soon.
Right, important questions. Price and availability.
Right, so price-wise, they start at £362.99 for the power cars. That's for the standard editions. And then they rise to £381.99 for the Midland Pullman 1-to-1 collection set. That's just for the power cars again, but at a slightly higher price for those. The Midland Pullman cars do have an extra feature as well. They've got the upper high-intensity headlight on them as well. So we've got an extra little feature with those. And then availability, they're all in the shops now. Get purchasing. These are great way to add to or bolster your HST fleet or buy your first.
What about the coaches?
Coaches, they're priced at £44.99. And again, they're gradually coming through. I think all the Great Western coaches are now available. I think the East Midlands Trains coaches are now available as well. And then we've got the Midland Pullman and the East Coast ones are still due to arrive at this point. So more of those coming into stock as well.
And one thing we should mention is Hornby are still sticking to their new plan of doing every coach. So they're doing all the letters, so you can really collect full rakes properly.
Yeah, brilliant, but dangerous for your wallet.
Yeah, well, keeps you in overtime for a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. So.
It's a shame, really, we've had to bring the HST to a stop. It's a very nice train.
It certainly is. And, well, I've already gone and spoiled myself a little bit and added the blue Pullman set to my collection. And I then added up how many HSTs I've got, and I realised I probably shouldn't have done that or admitted to it on camera in public.
Especially when the other half's watching.
Yes. But they're such fantastic trains. And it's another one of those locos where I think I've always liked HSTs, but never realised quite how much I liked them. I remember my first one I had was a Lima one. I only had 3 coaches for it because that's all we had at the time. We had a BR blue and grey one with 3 coaches on it, and it must have run hundreds of circuits around our layout at home.
I think because the real thing is so iconic.
Yeah.
It's how you draw a train if you were 5.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
So everyone loves them.
Absolutely. So I do think that whilst I think perhaps outwardly in some ways that the updated tooling of the HST isn't quite so obvious as perhaps we might have expected it to be in terms of its appearance. Actually, there are so many small refinements to this that I really think it's a worthwhile consideration to expand a fleet of HSTs. And I do really like the upgrades to the chassis as well. They're going to make it much easier to operate and to use, and I really like the roof fans too.
And now it's time for a little hush in the workshop because we're going to take a closer look at Hornby's impressive W1 for a sound fitting.
It's very hush-hush.
Here at Rails of Sheffield, we pride ourselves in being the leading model railway retailer in the UK. We stock all gauges from Z up to 3.5 inch gauge, including the very popular N gauge, O and O gauge. Our customers can also benefit from having their models professionally custom weathered. Also available are our exclusive award-winning models. We also cater for those looking for extra value, with over 200 pre-owned items always in stock ready to take away. So come on down to Rails of Sheffield and see our new showroom. You can find us at 21 to 29 Chesterfield Road, Sheffield, S8 0RL. You can contact us on 0114 255 1436 and also visit us at railsofsheffield.com.
Hello and welcome once again to the Hornby Magazine Workshop. You join myself and Mike here on Topley-Dale, the double O gauge test track. And today we have something rather special. It's not only Hornby's flagship steam locos, but also one of Mike's favourite steam locos. It's the W1 and the rebuilt W1.
And now a sound as well.
Sound fitted.
Indeed. So brand new sound files from Locoman Sounds in, I've been, I think everyone's kind of got the message of the W1 that I really quite like them, and I've been eagerly waiting to get my hands on these. And now they've all got full sound in them as well, with brand new sound files from Locoman Sounds. So.
And you did it at midnight as well. That's how much you loved them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, dedication to the cause.
As soon as they arrived. So, what have you done to these locos?
Right, so these have both got Dolan & Haas 8-pin sound decoders in them, which have got Locoman Sound's brand new sound profiles for the original compound Hush Hush 464, and also for the rebuilt 3-cylinder loco as well. So 2 quite radically different sound files to replicate the locos in different periods of its life. And quite fascinating as well, because he's obviously the Hush Hush, well, there aren't many recordings of it around, so he's had to do a lot of research to find out what it does, including working at the National Archives to find out information about it, and also talking to people who were involved with it as well. And he's created what I think is quite a magical sound file. And strangely, one of the things I like the most about it is they had a steam operated reverser on the Hush Hush locomotives. And when you change direction with it, he's got that sound of the steam operated reverser changing direction as well. I love little things like that.
We always get excited here at the office when a Locoman sound file arrives, because they are very nice.
Yeah, I think in terms of steam sounds, I think he's got a particular ear. Ear is probably the right word, isn't it, for how a locomotive sounds, and then actually replicating that on a chip as well, which I think is two different things. I think understanding how a locomotive works is one thing, but actually being able to engineer that sound to perform the way he gets them to do on a model is really quite outstanding. It's like the steam locomotives, nothing's on and off. Everything's got a little bit of
Bit of lag.
Yeah, a bit of lag, that's the word. Yeah, so you close the regulator, it doesn't just shut it off. It's not that mechanical. It shuts off and then steam continues to flow through the steam pipe after you've shut it off because you've still got the steam running through when you were shutting it off. And it captures that kind of character of a steam locomotive as well. And the whistles, steam whistles, I would say these are probably, his sound's got the best steam whistles there are. I think you probably agree with me on that.
They're very satisfying.
Very satisfying.
And I think a lot of steam sound gets tarnished with the sounds like sandpaper brush. However, this could not be further from what we have in front of us.
No, absolutely not. Right, this is definitely not sandpaper block sound. This is proper pucker engineered sound, which has been developed to suit what the decoder can do as well, which is what it's all about when it comes to the best sound decoders. And moreover, actually, the D&H decoders, they're not that well known as a brand in the UK, but actually considerably cheaper than the equivalent high-end sound decoders from ESU, for example. And they've still got 16-bit audio quality. They've still got loads of functionality in them as well. So it's got things like, for example, you've got the option to add working lights to these as well. You can add firebox flicker. You can add a smoke generator as well. All those functions are built into every sound profile it does as well. And you've also got then features like some active braking on them as well. You've got live volume control through function buttons and a whole host of ancillary functions to bring these things to life as well.
And the quality's there as well. Like you say, he's got the ear for it, and you get a good quality sound, and there's no peaking from the speakers.
No, not at all. So even with those superb whistles as well. It's all very well done. And the other thing, actually, I've done lots of things I like today, apparently. Apparently I'm in a good mood today. But the other thing I really like as well is how he uses the same function key to do two different things. He'll do one thing whilst the loco's stationary, and he'll do another thing whilst it's moving. For example, function 7 on these models, and it's a pretty standard function across all these sound files. Function 7, if the loco is stationary, you'll get a guard whistle sound. If the loco is moving, then you get a flange squeal sound. And I think it's just clever use of the decoder technology to be able to give you a bit more of an immersive experience of driving. So,
and of course, from usability, it'd be easier for him to make it function 32 as another sound, but having it at the low numbers, it's much easier on standard controllers.
That's right, exactly. And there's a couple of other things actually to mention as well. One of the things that's always been really important to me with a sound file is when you're driving with a throttle, it should respond to small changes in the throttle. So if I want to go from exhaust to coasting sounds, I always felt like a steam locomotive, you should go back one speed step. It should graduate back from exhaust to coasting sounds. And similarly going back the other way as well, it should pick back straight onto exhaust sounds, and that's exactly what these do. But you've also got the option to control that manually as well. So you've got a forced coasting sound on function 9, which means you can make sure the engine does do what you want it to do rather. And he's also got a forced heavy exhaust sound as well on function 24 on these sound profiles, which means that you can make the exhaust beat harder for if your loco is working up a gradient or pulling away with a heavy train. It makes it, again, easier to replicate some of those real-world things that would happen with a steam locomotive.
And sometimes, of course, with some sound files, it can be a bit dominating, just leaving them running. But again, low command sound stuff, it's great.
It's lovely. I just really enjoy having these just trundling around, making steamy sounds. It's fantastic.
So going back to the Hornby model itself, how easy was the install?
Easier in the original locomotive than it was in the rebuilt model, actually, interestingly, because you think looking at them that these are identical, right? They're both the same. They're both 464s. They've both got 8-wheel tenders. Interestingly, the tenders are quite different. So basically, it's all about the width of the tender body. So the tender with the original locomotive is a wider body, and the non-corridor tender that's with the rebuilt locomotive has got a narrower body. So I did the Hush Hush first, and in that I've got the 40 by 20 speaker and the Stay Alive positioned next to each other in the tender, and there's plenty of space from either side. There's space for the decoder and the decoder socket to be remounted up front either side of the coal space. But in the rebuilt locomotive, I had to offset the speaker to one side in order to get the Stay Alive in alongside it, because otherwise the Stay Alive was too far to one side. And I had to actually modify the coal space as well, so I had to cut the back of the coal space out in order to feed both the decoder and the decoder socket through into the coal space underneath the plastic coal load. So just a little bit more restrictive a space versus the speaker I've chosen for the rebuilt version.
And of course, that sounds all rather complicated, but we've covered it all in Hornby magazine.
Yeah, I would say as well, it does sound complicated, but actually, I mean, for example, we've gone the extra mile. We put the Stay Alive in as well, which does add an extra bit of work to these. You could do it without Stay Alive, saves you a bit of space, and also saves you a bit more wiring as well, quite frankly. But there's also a different version now of the 8-pin decoder as well from the Dawlish Warren family, which has got bigger solder pads on it as well, which does make it easier to add the Stay Alive direct onto the decoder as well. About half an hour to do the Hush Hush, and probably about 45 minutes, I think it took me to do the real rebuilt one, just because there's the extra work inside the tender coal space. So.
Easy.
Easy.
Half an hour, cup of tea, then you can get to play with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And talking of playing with them, I think we should get them on and running around Topsydale.
Yeah, let's show people what we do.
Well, that was something else.
Did you enjoy that, did you?
It was very satisfying.
Yeah. So I'm pleased you enjoy my hard work of installing the sound into these.
Always do.
Always do. It's like chief testing engineer.
Yep.
So.
Well, that's what it's all about, because ultimately this is a hobby and we've got to have fun with the end result, and these provide that fun.
I've got to say, it is one of the most satisfying parts of a sound installation for me, is the moment you've finished it on the workbench and I come down into the workshop here, I put it on the track, I turn the sound on, and it does everything I want it to do straight away.
Yeah.
That's proper satisfaction, that is.
It just makes it worth it.
Yeah. And then I find I stand here for way too long playing with it, and then I need to go and do the next job.
Because they catch
every
up.
time. Do it with the 20s, do it with the W1s, everything I've sound fit, I do the same thing with.
But these locos in particular are something special.
Yes, definitely. The W1 itself is a very, very special locomotive. I never thought I'd see this made as a ready-to-run product in this kind of ilk. I always thought it would be kind of a high-end kit or a high-end brass-built model only for the W1. And it's fantastic to be able to add these locos to the collection.
And say to see them made and then to see customized sound files for them, just something else.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I should mention as well, actually, with the Hush Hush, there are 2 versions of the sound file for that as well. So there's a version for the single chimney, as we've got here, and there's a version for the double chimney as well, which did have some other changes to the locomotive as well. So Locoman Sounds has compensated for that as well. I should probably also mention with the rebuilt locomotive as well, is it's very similar to an A4. So they've kind of based it along those lines, but with a heavier exhaust for the larger cylinders on it. So it's really quite an interesting sound profile to listen to, I think.
I was surprised running the both, how different they are, considering in theory they're the same loco. That's the novice in me.
Yeah, so far away from being the same loco, you wouldn't believe. Yeah. So you've got just very briefly then, so you've got a 450 psi high pressure marine boiler in the Hush Hush locomotive, and it's also a compound cylinder arrangement as well. So it's essentially a 4-cylinder locomotive. Whereas the rebuilt locomotive, it's a conventional boiler. I think it was 225 psi for the boiler, very similar to the boiler that's in the P2s. But it's got conventional valve gear, so it's now gone to a 3-cylinder layout instead of a 4 compound. So much more like an A4 with the rebuilt loco, because it's got that syncopated 3-cylinder beat, and you get all that from the sound file. Like I say, with the high pressure loco as well, actually, there's little details in that as well. Like for example, when it first starts off, it uses low pressure steam, so it's got a very soft exhaust as it starts going. And again, the sound file replicates all that. And then it moves over to the high pressure boiler. That's where you get a heavier exhaust sound from it as well. So whilst they are both 464s, I'm pretty sure the only thing that really stayed the same between these 2 locos, and well, this loco rather, because it is the same loco, is pretty much the chassis.
I feel like I've just sworn at steam fans.
They're also shorter and different tenders. We could go on.
But all credit to Alexander of Locoman Sounds, because he's put the time in to make them different.
Absolutely, yeah.
Put the effort in.
Yeah. I think that's the point, isn't it? You know, we've come to a point in model railways now where we almost expect different. Do you know what I mean? It's now we're expecting this kind of level of detail from everyone, not just from manufacturers, but from aftermarket parts as well. And I think it's fantastic to see the attention that's been put into these things.
And I think we can both safely say that if you at home decide to install these sound files, you won't be disappointed.
Definitely not.
Yeah. We weren't.
I love them.
Which says it all.
Yeah.
Right, so for all those at home who are itching to get on and fit their own, where can they see the step-by-step guide?
Right, so we've got the full step-by-step guide in the latest issue of Hornby magazine. That's issue 180, our June 2022 issue, which you will recognise by the fact it says on the cover East Coast Legends. So we've got some fantastic East Coast mainline content in there, including our full installation guide for the W1. Alternatively, if you are one of our online subscribers, you can find the full installation guide on keymodelworld.com as well.
Wonderful. Well, that brings us to an end of another video. Thank you as ever for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
I'm Jack, and welcome to Hatton's Model Railways in Widnes. Here at Hatton's, we stock over 13,000 different product lines, and we also have a huge range of pre-owned items ranging from everything from UK outline, USA outline, Japan. You can also sign up to daily notifications, so whenever we add new pre-owned stock, you can go straight to the website and get first dibs on those too. We also offer a trunk service here at Hatton's that enables you to purchase items and make sure you've secured them. We'll keep them here safely for you, and you can even combine them with other orders and have them all shipped out together. That even enables you to save on postage costs, and is great for overseas customers as well. So So we're here in our curbside pickup lockers, so anyone who is local to Hattons, you can have your order placed online or over the phone and have it placed in one of our lockers as you see here. It's really easy to just come and collect your key, pick it up any time of day, 24/7, you can come and pick up your order. Our customer experience team is available from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m, 7 days a week UK time. You can place orders, query anything, and you can also speak to our product expert team who are available to give you expert full-on guidance with our entire product range. They can get in touch via email, social media, live chat, or phone.
So I think if you're going to sound fit a steam locomotive, it's got to be something like a W1.
Definitely. I mean, as well, it's another one of those locos that people who've watched our videos regularly will realise I've been a little bit eager to get my hands on a W1. I did acquire one of each version in the end, and then they had to have sound in them. And Alessandro from Locoman Sounds, his sound profile, I think for me, gives them a lot of character as well.
You can't argue that there isn't room.
No, definitely. Plenty of room in the tender. Well, surprisingly, actually, there was more room in one tender than the other, just because of the design of the tender interiors on them. Because one of them's got a different tender body.
Which is kind of interesting, because you'd always think it's going to be the same single mould, but...
But there were so many changes to the W1 over its career. By the time it was in the BR era, it was running with a non-corridor tender. In the LNER period, when it was in the grey in its original format, it had a corridor tender with it. So quite significantly different tenders. And the corridor tender's a little bit wider than the non-corridor tender as well.
All interesting stuff.
Certainly. So obviously that's from a little while ago when we did the W1 sound installation. But if you do want to read our original sound installation guide, which explains the process of putting the sound chip in there in detail, that is available to read on keymodelworld.com as well.
It's always worth having a go.
Definitely.
It's always worth having the guides to help you have a go as well.
It is, yes, and there's plenty of guides on there. So if you go to, again, keymodelworld.com, but if you put in /digital-sound, that will take you to all our sound guides. So there's a whole collection of different features there about lots of different types of models.
So I think that brings us very nicely to the end of another Key Model World TV show. I don't know where these months go. They fly by.
They certainly do. And, we can let the cat out of the bag a little bit for next month, can't we?
Oh, can we? Can we?
Yeah, just a little bit. We'll drop a hint. Next issue of the Key Model World TV show, which is coming up on the 10th of March, is going to be a special edition. Because we've got something brand new to show you.
It's our brand new layout build series.
And it's going to kick off in the next issue of Key Model World TV show. We're able to find out what we're doing and what's coming as well. And keep an eye on the next issue of Hornby magazine as well, issue 190. That's our April 2023 issue. Well, there'll be a full feature explaining the introduction and the beginnings of that layout as well.
I really want to show them a snippet, because it's just there.
It is just there. You can show them a snippet, but not that snippet.
Not that snippet, okay.
No, the other snippet. Can't wait to show you what it'll be. Join us next time, and you'll find out more.
Introducing Key Model World, your new online destination for everything railway and scale modelling. Featuring exclusive videos and features, unseen images, step-by-step guides, railway history, and the latest news. Plus, it's home to our full layout build series.
But I'm going to stop you right there, though, because I didn't do this. This is all you're doing.
Join us for the latest content from Key Publishing's modelling titles, Hornby Magazine and Airfix Model World. Sign up today for as little as £3.75 per month, or if you're a magazine subscriber, bolt Key Model World onto your subscription package now. For more details, visit keymodelworld.com.